Ready to take your favorite WagerTalk handicappers wherever you travel this football season? The WagerTalk TV app is now live for phones, tablets, smart TVs, and streaming platforms. Tune into your favorite shows like WagerTalk Today, Bet on It, and the Opening Line Report. Plus, browse through our extensive library of sports betting tips. Create your personal playlist of betting tip videos to help you prepare for the upcoming season, and set notifications to alert you when new content is added. Download the app for Apple, Android, Amazon, and Roku devices by searching for WagerTalk TV, or scan the QR code on your screen to join the winning conversation today.
Welcome into First Pitch for Thursday, September 29th. I am Drew Martin, joined by Brian Leonard and Steve Merrill of WagerTalk.com. We got 3 games on tonight's slate. We got best bets at the end. We're talking Rays, Cleveland Guardians. We're talking the Texas Rangers, Seattle Mariners, and the LA Dodgers, San Diego Padres. Playoff implications ahead as we got the Rays and the Cleveland Guardians up first here, guys. Springs versus Quantrill. Steve, coming to you first. Low total here, 6.5. We're seeing Tampa Bay minus 115, as high as minus $1.25 out there. They've lost 12 of 19. However, they're 5-0 in Spring's last 5 starts. What do you like in Rays and Guardians tonight, Steve?
Yeah, and Cleveland's won 7 of their last 8, and their only loss was what I would call somewhat misleading 6-5 loss last night against the Rays, in which they out-hit them 14-7 in total hits. So looking forward to getting Brian Leonard's take here in a moment on the Cleveland Guardians, his Cleveland Indians, because I think the only reason they're a home dog here is because they've clinched the Central. They're locked into the 3rd seed in the playoffs. They don't have anything to play for. I mean, it's that simple. Whereas the Rays are only a half game up for the wild card. They're fighting for their lives still, their playoff lives. With that said, though, I'm never a fan of playing these must-win against teams that have nothing to play for, unless we're going to find out that Cleveland is sitting everybody and resting everybody, and I'm sure Brian's looked into that. The Guardians are the better team right now. They're in much better current form, as you mentioned, and they're also in better offensive current form. The Rays, not only did they get by with just 7 hits last night, 6 runs on 7 hits, which is very misleading. They did not hit the ball well in the previous 2 games. They had exactly 7 hits in each of their 2 weekend losses against Toronto, or not weekend losses, earlier week losses, and they had exactly 1 run in each of those losses. So I'll take the hotter team, better current form at home at plus money. And once again, the only knock here is that Cleveland has nothing to play for. But as we've all been in this business long enough, know if you're good enough to win when you had to, like the Rays, you wouldn't be in must-win situations. And the fact they're just 7-12 their last 19, Drew, I think spot on about that.
Brian, your Cleveland Guardians used to be the Indians here. Some people got to keep up with that. But, hey, first 2 games of this series, both went to extra innings and both had rain delays. Not sure if that kind of helps one team over the other, maybe towards the bullpen aspect of the handicap. But what are you thinking here? Your Cleveland team, man.
Yeah, Cleveland was able to pull that out 2-1 in extras yesterday. And this is a team in Cleveland's very good in extra innings, very good in low-scoring games as well as the bullpen games. And the reason why is they've got great pitchers in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings, probably the best in baseball. When you take a look at it, the back end of this bullpen has just been terrific all season long. Tampa Bay still fighting for the playoffs. In fact, Tampa Bay still has a chance to play Cleveland here in the playoffs. Quantrill has been terrific at home all season long. In fact, going back to last year, he's had this ability to win in Progressive Field. Terrific record there. He's got a big winning streak going. Jeffrey Springs is a guy that's been really good for Tampa, very good starter for them. So you got 2 pitchers here that I think are going to have a lot of success. Steve talked about resting players. It's not like it used to be. Back when, just a couple of years ago, you could bring up a 40-man roster and let them play in the major leagues. And so you had to worry about that at the end of the season. But they really only allow you to bring in 2 additional players this season. So we still see it. In fact, the Yankees, after clinching the division yesterday, they still played a lot of their – obviously, you knew Judge was going to play, but they still played a lot of their starters. So that's one thing you have to look at this year that you hadn't had to look at in the past is the teams just aren't as deep now as they had been back when they can call up anybody they wanted. So it's a different way to look at these games. I happen to like the under here. Both starters, I think, are going to have a lot of success here. It's a situation for myself that it'll be very similar to yesterday's 2-1 game. Tampa probably deserved that win yesterday. They didn't get it, but it's 6.5. It's not. If it was 7, this would be a play for me. I used it as a free play on the site. I prefer the under here, 6.5. I think we'll see another low-scoring game.
All right, Brian Leonard at B Leonard Sports on Twitter. Check him out, WagerTalk.com. We got next game up, heading out west, Texas Rangers, Seattle Mariners. John Gray going for the Rangers here, Brian. Marco Gonzalez, the lefty, going for the Mariners. -115. That's what we're seeing. The M's at home. Total of 7. Marco Gonzalez, winless in the month of September. Can he get one before it ends here? Brian, what do you like in Rangers and Mariners AL West battle?
Yeah, usually I can find some value on Marco Gonzalez because he's not a big strikeout guy, only 12.9%. Very good against the walks, 6.4%. He keeps people off balance for his hard hit percentage and exit velocity. That's what he does. He keeps you off balance. This Texas team is a team that has a lot of talent on this team. I think they'll be very good in the future. Problem is this year they haven't been, and they're going to be missing their best hitter overall in Corey Seager tonight. So that is a concern if you're looking to play Texas in this one. John Gray has put together a really good season. You take a look at his baseball savant numbers, and it's pretty much red across the board, which is very good. The problem was he had an injury earlier in the season. He was missed a lot of time, but he's had a lot of success here. 26.5 strikeout percentage, 7.6 walk percentage. All of his numbers, as I mentioned, are in the red. So I like the pitching matchup here from both of these teams. Lean with the under here. Obviously, Texas doesn't have anything to play for. Not going to lay this number with Seattle, but also think this will be another low-scoring contest.
Steve, what do you like in Rangers and M's tonight?
Yeah, obviously, Seattle is a team that was vastly, I don't want to say overrated, but they vastly outperformed last season. And one of the reasons was they were really good in one-run games. So it's ironic that they're playing the Rangers now here late in the season because the Rangers are bad. They're 22 games below 500, but they could have been a little bit better this year. And it's something we've talked about in some other shows and videos is that, halfway through the season, they were just terrible in one-run games. And for the year, they're now 14-32 in games decided by one run. Seattle, meanwhile, 30-21. So that's almost like a 16 more wins, and it's about 11 more losses. So you're talking about a 13.5 game difference between these teams in one-run games. But I don't think that's a total fluke. Texas has actually had a decent bullpen numbers for the most part this year, though. So in that regard, that's a fluke. But Seattle's always been a good, close one-run team. Brian mentioned a low-scoring game here. So I think if you are looking at this one on the run line, the Rangers, it's a pretty big price, but it might be worth a little bit of a safety insurance there. I would agree under 7 in this one. 7's a very key number. If I'm going to play it, under would be the way to look. I don't think either offense is going to have a huge edge tonight. And Rangers not in good current form offensively. This team's had single-digit hits. In fact, 7 hits or less in 4 of their last 5 games. And overall, 7 hits or less going back in 7 of their last 9 games the past couple weeks. Thought the Mariners' offense was heating up when they put up 18 runs on 23 hits those final 2 games on the road against Kansas City, but they were flat yesterday. Shutout, just 5 hits, no runs. Maybe that was the hangover from returning home off a long road trip, but sometimes that can linger a couple days. If it did, I think the under is probably worth a look.
Yeah, Mariners trying to hold on to that last AL wildcard spot, guys, at 84-70. They're 4.5 games over the Orioles. Trying to break the longest non-playoff streak in American sports out of the 4 professional sports. I believe it's 20 years. So, yeah, but they're also benefiting here. It might be actually a go against once they make the playoffs because they have 20 straight games down the stretch here versus teams under 500. So they're kind of benefiting from that, playing in the AL West. And they've also been able to beat the Rangers a bunch of times this season. We'll see if they can do it tonight, though. John Gray, pretty good pitcher himself. We got a NL West battle to finish it here, guys, before best bets. Dodgers and Padres. Seeing -105 pick'em price here, and I'm still not seeing a pitcher for the Padres. I know that makes it tough to kind of handicap, Steve, but feel free to kind of go into, there can still be advantages because, hey, if they're doing a bullpen game, maybe they're pulling up a guy from the minors, you can get out ahead of some of these line moves. Not sure if you're viewing it like that. Late night here, Dodgers and Padres in Petco.
Yeah, first of all, Drew, you got me Googling as we go here about the Mariners. I did not know it's been that long since they made the playoffs. And when you said, 20 years, I'm thinking, well, watching the Jeter series, I remember how good they were in '01. And I just pulled it up. That's when they won the 116 games. So one of the best records ever in baseball. And they basically haven't made the playoffs since. Really remarkable. The following season in '02, they actually finished third in the division. Despite winning 93 games, the Angels and Athletics were loaded that year. So really remarkable that they've done nothing since having one of the best teams in the history of baseball 21 years ago. So good stuff there from Drew Martin Betts on Twitter. And this is a tricky game for me because, as you said, there's not a pitcher listed, but I had a best bet 2 nights ago on Tuesday on the Padres for my clients at WagerTalk.com. That brought us to 23-10 all sports the last couple of weeks. So we've been selective in baseball, but we've been seeing it really good when we pull the trigger and fire away. And one of the reasons I liked the Padres a couple nights ago is they're still fighting in the wild card battle, and the Dodgers have nothing to play for. We talked about the Guardians locking up the 3rd seed. The Dodgers have locked up the number 1 overall seed, and they're not going to catch that 116-win Mariner team that I just referenced from 2001. A few months ago, about a month ago, that was in the works still, and that's when the Dodgers were really crushing everybody still. And I think they had that in their eyes. That was the prize that they saw at the end of the tunnel. Now they're just going to take it easy for the final week. And I think you have to be very cautious back in LA for that reason. So it's ironic that we don't know maybe who the Padres are going with here, because I think the Dodgers are the team that really is going to take it easy. And, they lost the game 4-3 to San Diego. And I just don't see them making much of an effort here the next week or so. And by the way, they finish with, if I'm not mistaken, 6 straight games at home against Colorado after this series. Unless that's a typo, that's what I saw on the schedule. So it's going to be a very interesting week for the LA Dodgers.
Good stuff, Steve. Brian, coming to you next. It's funny because I've been watching the Wager Talk odds screen, getting ready for the show and just waiting for the Padres pitcher. And sure enough, I believe Westgate comes out first, minus 105 each side. And now it's populating. It's funny because they're just copying off of each other, minus 105. That nobody knows what the pitcher is, but they see the Westgate show minus 105 and they're like, oh, Jake Kornegie's probably right. Let's just put up minus 105 and let's take some action. I mean, that's what I really think is going on. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts late night here?
Yeah, it's sort of like back when you're in school and you get to a certain class you're not very good at, but the person you're sitting next to is really good. You're looking over the corner of your eye. Oh, A, number 1, A. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that's about the way it is. That's the way it is anymore, really. You've got your big offshores that do very well at it, and people, the lazy way of handicapping, I guess, if you own a sports book, and we were talking about one before we got on air, and they're probably one of those that do a lot of copying. So, yeah, that's why you pay more attention when the sharper books, like here in Vegas, the Westgate and Circa and South Point put up a line. Those are quality lines as opposed to some of the others that are out there. So, you always have to look at the markets to see who's leading the markets. But this game, I'm not going to have a play on it because we don't know who the pitcher is. But I do want to point out that the last 10 games, San Diego 7-3, the Dodgers 6-4. But interesting enough, Brusdar Graterol is a guy who you don't square up very often. Launch angles, it's pretty amazing. You take a look at Sean Manaea, for example, for San Diego. His launch angle is 16.4 degrees. He's a fly ball pitcher. Mike Clevenger, 18.9. Brusdar Graterol is minus 0.2. He kills worms. This guy, you take a look at his numbers, his topped percentage, meaning the ball is hit at the top of the baseball, is 51.2. His flare burner percent is 19.4. Solid percent 3.1, barrel percent 4.7. This guy keeps the opposition off balance. He makes them hit the ball into the ground, and that's been one of the problems for the Padres. Is they've got guys since they made the big trade for their best player over there. Since Soto's come there, he's hitting too many ground balls. That's the problem been. He hasn't been able to hit the ball on underneath the ball. His top percentage on the season is 35.5, and I'm sure it's much higher since he's gone to San Diego. So you're not going to hit many home runs against Graterol. Don't know who is going to pitch for the Padres here. The first 2 games, 6 runs in regulation. Yesterday, 1 run in regulation. So common theme for me today is I'll be looking to play the under here. Currently, right now, we're looking at 7.5. Who knows how long that's going to stay based on the starter for San Diego, but I look for another low-scoring game.
Fair enough, Brian. Good stuff, guys. Brian Leonard, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. Guys, we got best bets coming up right now, going around the horn here. Steve Merrill, he's got those videos up on WagerTalk YouTube. You're already here. Check them out. Not only just a bit outside with his best bets, but he's got the public betting percentages video, fade the public there in the NFL, also top 25 college football. What else you got going on, Steve? And where are you going for best bets, man?
Yeah, real quick, Brian, talk about, great on the ground balls. When is he not going to get a huge payday by the Colorado Rockies? I mean, if you're the Rockies, you got to sign him in an instant, get him in Coors Field to keep those balls from leaving the park in the thin air and altitude. Going to look at a free baseball play for Thursday night. Just a quick reminder, we are busy this time of year with all sports. NBA just a couple weeks away. College basketball less than a month away. MLB playoffs just about a week away. And, of course, we got this thing called college football and a little thing called the NFL along the way as well. So this is like the 1 month coming up October where you can honestly get every sport in 1 month: baseball, basketball, and football. It's the best time of the year to be a sports bettor. It's the best time of the year of an all sports access subscription at WagerTalk.com. And right now is the best time to get that because you get the rest of the year, the next 3+ months, the rest of 2022 for less than $7 a day. If you think $9 Monday is special, how about getting $7 Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, every day for the rest of the year? Right now, no promo code needed. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. Game that was just a bit outside from making the cut tonight on Thursday. Going to look at the Cleveland Guardians plus 105. That goes at 6:10 Eastern. A little bit early start here. I mentioned how the Guardians had won 7 straight, and then they lost that game on Monday, or not Monday. What today? Today's Thursday. That was on Tuesday. They lost that misleading game 6-5, in which they out-hit the Rays 14-7. They bounced back with kind of a lackluster extra inning win yesterday. But the bottom line is Cleveland is in better form still than the Rays. The Rays have lost 12 out of 19 despite being in must-win situations every time. They're only half a game up for the playoffs, a wild card spot. Guardians have already locked up the Central Division. They're locked into the 3 seed, but they're still playing excellent baseball. And I'm not a believer in these must-win situations in pro sports. If teams were good enough to win when they had to, the Rays would have won last night, and they also would have won on Monday and Tuesday when they lost and only scored 1 run in each game. And they also wouldn't be in a must-win situation to start with. That's why Cleveland is a home dog right now. We'll take that line value with the Guardians plus 105 tonight on Thursday. Quick reminder, my NFL Fade the Public video will be up this weekend as always for Sunday's game. I did something I've never done before, and I have a Thursday night special edition right now for the Dolphins-Bengals game. Thursday Night Football Fade the Public edition is available right now here on Wager Talk TV. And don't forget to check out the College Football Top 25 video this Friday night as well. Steve
Merrill at Steve Merrill on Twitter. Check out those videos. YouTube channel here at Wager Talk. Shout out to the chat box, guys. Everybody joining us live. Wisconsin guy, Jessica in the house, Jack as well. Sweet James Jones, always good to see you. Johnny Outlaw asking about the hurricane. Guys, a lot of hurricane stuff going to be affecting college football. Not really in the state of Florida, maybe preparation and practice, but more so up into Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Charlotte, and UTEP. I did a video on the Wager Talk YouTube channel called Under the Radar, tracking where Ian's going and some of those totals and sides. Check that out just a few videos ago. Yesterday it came out. But for my best bet on the video, been a couple down days here in baseball, so kind of treading lightly. Didn't love the card tonight, but I'm going to back the Texas Rangers here. John Gray, I think we get the better pitcher up against Marco Gonzalez. He's winless in the month of September. 4 earned runs his last time out. Didn't look that good. And plus the fact the Mariners, they're heading into the playoffs here against 20 straight games against teams under 500. I think they're kind of benefiting from a weak schedule here down the stretch. They also haven't put together back-to-back games with a win since September 5th. So being able to do that tonight, I'm not really going to bank on it. They haven't been good. They've lost 12 of their last 20 games. Trying to make the playoffs, they might do it. I just don't think they're going to win tonight against John Gray and the Rangers. So take the plus price, plus 105 on the Texas Rangers for my best bet. Throw it over to Brian Leonard. Guys, check him out on Twitter at @BLeonardSports. He knows his baseball for the last 5 years in MLB, in the green, knows college football as well, college college basketball right around the corner. Get ready for that. NFL, a man of many talents, been doing this successfully for quite some time in the sports betting world. Brian, take it away. Any final thoughts, what you got going on, and where are you heading for best bets?
Yeah, Steve mentioned the three major sports in the United States. He completely forgot about hockey, who is in preseason right now and is just about to start early October. Johnny put up a great special for me, for anybody who wants to buy my hockey. Number 2 in net profit last year. Over the last 5 years, number 1 on the site in NHL hockey. That's up there on the site. Just a tremendous deal on that. Currently on a 13-2 run overall, and we're seeing the cards very well. And I do have a team total on tonight's Thursday night football game and a 5% play on Saturday college football. We'll go back to the same game that you just talked about, the Tampa Bay Cleveland Guardians game. And I talked about this earlier. I'd like the under in this. Josh Naylor is really, for the most part, the only power that Cleveland has. He's a lefty. He's going against a lefty to start this game in spring, so he won't be in the starting lineup. That hurts the power prospect of the Guardians here. And I've already talked about how I like the under in this game. I like both starters. And we talked about, obviously, the starting pitcher for Cleveland, Cal Quantrill. He's just been tremendous when he pitches in Progressive Park. So I think we're going to see another low-scoring game here. You talked about Tampa's hitting has not been very good as of late. So let's go with the under here on this game. That'll be my best bet. I am passing in baseball today, but I do have that 4% play up in the NFL tonight, a team total, and we're number 1 on the site in 2022 on our 4% plays and net profit. So a real nice day to get a 4% tonight and a 5% on Saturday.
Brian Leonard, guys, he's on the Guardians plus 10, or Steve Merrill's on the Guardians plus 105. Brian Leonard's Cleveland Guardians. I'm also on the short underdog as well, Rangers plus 105. And Brian, you just heard it there. Rays Guardians under the 6 in the hook, minus 110. Guys, that does it for the show. First pitch in the books. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Feel free to reply below. Huge shout out to the chat box again. Please smash that like button. Enjoy the games, and we'll talk tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in.
Ready to take your favorite WagerTalk handicappers wherever you travel this football season? The WagerTalk TV app is now live for phones, tablets, smart TVs, and streaming platforms. Tune into your favorite shows like WagerTalk Today, Bet on It, and the Opening Line Report. Plus, browse through our extensive library of sports betting tips. Create your personal playlist of betting tip videos to help you prepare for the upcoming season, and set notifications to alert you when new content is added. Download the app for Apple, Android, Amazon, and Roku devices by searching for WagerTalk TV, or scan the QR code on your screen to join the winning conversation today.